For the past 2 weeks, I've been in a rut. It's something that happens to everyone at some point in their lives, but for me, it affected my ability to make content for YouTube, something I'm trying to grow and make into a profitable business. It's not like I spent 2 weeks doing absolutely nothing. I've been juggling YouTube and 2 jobs, and I also had 2 commissions that I had to do, which I was very thankful for, but it definitely took some energy out of me. Even little things like playing Breath of the Wild for the zillionth time, something I used to love doing, became tiring and oftentimes unenjoyable. Hi, Beetle. Being that it has been 2 weeks since posting, I felt, no matter what, I have to film something. It might be hot garbage that in the future I'll see as one of my worst videos, but it's still something, and it might end up giving me some inspiration and getting me out of this not so funky funk. When I think of art therapy, the first thing that comes to mind is automatic drawing. You take a blank page of paper or a canvas, material of your choice, and you just go. It's something I've done a lot in the past, and sometimes it can give you insight into what's on your mind, or even create further inspiration. None of these drawings are particularly good, by any means. Their quality, at times, is questionable at best, but they aren't meant to be a show of skill. They're meant to be a window into the mind. For the first one, I wanted to just dip my toes in a little bit. So I looked up a portrait online and I did a blind drawing. So basically, I looked at the portrait itself and not the paper that I was drawing on. It ended up wonky, as I figured it would, but it was a nice warm-up for the next one. For the second drawing, I used the same portrait image, and I did a sort of quasi-blind drawing. So I would draw the picture without looking at the paper, but every maybe 10 to 15 seconds, I would look at the paper just to make sure that the eye wasn't being drawn on, like, the cheek, as an example. This one ended up looking a little more normal. It was still pretty wonky and didn't look at all like the portrait I was drawing. But again, that wasn't the point. It was just feeling through what I was doing. For the third and final version of the portrait, I did a reverse blind drawing where I drew the portrait from memory and I did not look at the image at all. I did look at what I was drawing, I just didn't look at the reference photo. If I were to describe this one in one word, it would be default. It was like what you picture a face looks like when you close your eyes. There's no discernible characteristics at all, it's just a very flat, two-dimensional face. I enjoy using pencil crayons for this, because they allow you to create interesting texture with the lightness and the darkness of the pencil itself. It's something that I find oddly beautiful, even just some scribbles, some of the lines being darker than others, is very pleasing for me. For this next one, I did the actual automatic drawing. So I just started drawing lines on the paper and just let my brain go wherever it wanted to. In this case, it went to a bird of some kind of like an ostrich, I guess, and 2 little humans. So either the humans are extremely small or the bird is extremely large. Either way, it's a nice little start. Second drawing, I switched colors and I started drawing again a sort of bird-like shape. Decided to change it a little bit And then it just turned into another bird. It seems I had birds on the brain for this. Is he being engulfed in fire or a droplet of water? It's a mystery to us all. For this last one, I started with a couple circles. I ended up creating a sort of landscape. I had an image in my mind that I wanted to draw out, but I very quickly realized I wasn't automatic drawing. I was drawing what I could see in my brain, which isn't really what the exercise is supposed to be about. So I stopped this one pretty quickly. Next one I did, I think I was getting a little bit of feedback from the artwork of one of the songs I was listening to at the time. The cover art had a large door, so I started drawing a large door with a tree on it. It was giving me sort of like Mines of Moria, Lord of the Ring vibes a little bit, and I added another tiny person in the front. Probably some feedback from the big ostrich that I did earlier. After doing a couple with pencil crayon, I decided to switch over to these alcohol markers. They're basically like Copic, but they aren't brand name. I only have 3 colors, yellow, this light blue, and then a red. So I decided to do clusters of colors. So for this one, blue and yellow. I started drawing what I thought was like a sort of a bubble shape. It ended up turning into 2, I guess you could say like Loch Ness or like sea monsters inside a oddly eyeball shaped object or thing. Pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. For the next one, I wanted to use the red marker. I really like this red. It's like a true deep red. And I paired it with another marker that I thought was going to be red, but comparing it to this red, it looks pink. It's red, but it looks pink here. It ended up looking like a sort of cityscape with like a red, or I guess pink, flowing river in the front and some humanoid-esque purple trees. Something about brush pens is very satisfying as well. The way that the line will shrink and then grow as you use it depending how the pen is angled is very beautiful. The second last one, again, was barely an automatic drawing. There is a cat figurine on my desk that I looked at right before starting drawing, and I decided it's going to be a cat. I ended up finishing it, but if this cat had a name, it would be named Jank, because it is jank. And for the last one, I ended up making a full circle. It's just an eye. But I wanted it to be a little more interesting, so I tried this sort of like blurring 3D effect by redrawing the same shape very roughly with a blue pen as well as a light green and then a yellow. From far away it does look kind of 3-dimensional-esque and not like 3D but like the retro blue and red 3D. It's pretty good for a little sketch. I wouldn't really say any of these drawings are very noteworthy, but it gave me a little bit of calm, and I would be lying if I said that they weren't inspirational, even just a little bit. One of the things that have been making me so tired over the last couple weeks was the fact that I was remaking my entire website. So if you have eyeballs and you like using them to look at things, you should go check it out. It's got all of my paintings, well, almost all of them, as well as all of my sculptures, so you can see everything I've ever made. Kind of. I'll be back next week, or maybe the week after, with my regularly scheduled programming. I hope you guys liked this different video. Leave a like if you did, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Beetle says thank you.
Thank you!